friends, so I'm here with my friend Nikki.
Hi!
And I don't know if you guys know her or not, but she's an awesome fashion, lifestyle, beauty vlogger, and yeah.
I'm awesome.
She's awesome.
I'm awesome.
And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things to talk about, even though I don't talk about it a lot on my channel, and that's intentionally being happy. So I thought of Nikki to have her in this because she is a very happy person. But I feel like we've had some conversations where we've had like heart-to-hearts where it's like, you know, a lot of times it seems like we're really happy, but it's something you have to work for.
Yeah, it definitely takes effort.
Like, what are kind of your thoughts on that? Like,
well, it's interesting because I've talked about this a lot with my husband, and we've kind of settled at the fact that I think my personality is genuinely more bubbly and happy, and I tend to see like the positive side of things. But it's really interesting. I have a very extreme personality. It's probably a good way to word it. And so with those like extreme highs can sometimes come like, this sounds so depressing, I just took it down, but it can come with extreme lows.
It can.
And I've noticed that with that, like, in order to stay in like a happy place, it's exactly like you said. It definitely takes intention. Yeah. Like I'll have to sit there and go, what do I want to do right now? What can I do to make myself happy? And there's some things that I've learned over the years, and I'm still learning. That I've like put into place in my life when I need to feel happy.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I'm not one of those people that when they meet me, they think like, oh, I'm really bubbly or whatever. But on the inside, it's like I do feel like really high highs and like I'll go like really low lows sometimes. And I've learned that with myself, it's just really, it's so important to know yourself and like to know your moods and to know your emotions and then know what puts you in a bad mood, what makes you happy. And then if you know those things, it's a lot easier to exercise, like practicing being happy. It's like anything else. It's like with your body, if you want your body to be in good shape, you have to work out and you have to practice and you have to like do things to make your body in shape. It's the same thing with your mind, like in mental happiness and like your mental health. You know when you think about this certain topic or this certain thing or certain fears, it can get you like snowballing effect into this negative place where it's like so hard to get out of. And you're like, okay, once I get to that place, like you have to have a game plan. Because I'm an introvert, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I need to go be around people. Because my natural tendency is like, I just want to stay home. And if I'm in a bad mood or if I'm emotional or if I'm sad, it's like, I just want to be home. But really, what gets me out of that, I know, is going and hanging out with friends and, and talking with people. Yeah, and it's interesting because like I would think like, oh, well, being alone is gonna make me like, you know, get my chill time in and make me feel better. But like if I'm sad, I have to be around people to distract me and to like put me in a good mood.
It's funny because I am the same way. She had me take, like she was the first person that I had ever heard of like the Briggs-Myers test. And when I took it, when we like matched me up with what I was, because at first the results didn't like match me where I was, and then she was like, look at this, and I read it. It was exactly me. And it made so much sense because I'm definitely extroverted, but I fell into like the personality type where I'm one of the few extroverts that really needs time alone. So sometimes when I'm sad, I feel like, oh, I want to be by myself right now because there's a side of me that likes that. But in the same way that like what can almost always pull me out of that mood is being around people. But it's hard to make myself around people. I'm like, no, I just want to lie here. I need downtime.
I just want to be sad and be like,
I'm just gonna lie here. It's fine. And I just kind of spiral into that. You know, I've noticed too, I don't know if you've had this, but I've noticed one thing that can help me sometimes, like this is kind of random, but it does fit in, is not trolling like Twitter and Facebook and stuff. I had someone tell me once, like maybe a year ago, they were like, you know, you don't have to know what everyone else is doing. You can just read what people are saying to you. Like I notice sometimes like if I start reading like the main thing on Twitter or like other people's Facebook stuff, I'll see what like other people are doing and then I'm like, oh, I wasn't included. I wasn't invited, or like they're talking about that. What about me? It's
I want to do something awesome too.
It's like it probably doesn't even have anything to do with me. So it's like the last thing I should be looking at if I'm feeling vulnerable and sad, because it probably has nothing to do with me and the world doesn't revolve around me. So it's just better when I'm feeling vulnerable to just look at like my @replies. It's kind of like the online equivalent of like minding your own business. You know?
And
so that's helped me a lot.
For me, it's like I'm really lazy with things in general. So it's like, I know like hanging out with people will put me in a good mood. Doing even just like activities I like to do. I really like going to the beach, and I discovered like a few months ago, I'm like, wait, I live in California and I've gone to the beach like once.
Yeah.
And I love the beach and it makes me so happy and I never went before. And it's like, you know what? I need to be intentional about going to the beach. I need to be intentional about doing things like working out, because even though I don't like working out, I always feel happy after. Like I have this checklist of things where it's like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. I need to make sure my room's clean. As weird as this sounds, I feel better when my room is clean.
Oh, totally.
And it's like, I have this like really weird thing in my life. I'm kind of always like, if my room is clean, I'm in a good place. And then if I'm in this like weird emotional bad place, I'll notice that my room is like really messy. And that's so weird, but it's a thing.
Yeah, it totally is. It's funny because like this is like kind of bringing it back to what you're saying in the beginning, but like with my personality, people just kind of assume that I'm just happy all the time.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like taking those intentional steps really helps, because that's not how I am all the time. It's really like, okay, what do I need to do? Working out, eating some good food. Like sometimes that's a totally separate issue too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to eat. Like if you don't eat on regular schedules and your blood sugar dips, like that can make you sad. Like physiologically, it can make you feel sad. So eating and picking up and being around friends, like those are all really great things to pick up your mood. And I promise you, it really is intentional. Like no one just wakes up.
You like have to do that
all the time.
And so many people think that everyone else in the world is just so happy. It's like the biggest misconception ever, because everyone's just like, well, everyone else is so happy, or like they're famous, they're more famous than I am on YouTube, and
so they're happier.
They're a cool musician, or they have this cool job and they have all these friends. That means they're happy. And it's like, no, it doesn't mean that. Like it's such a misconception.
Yeah.
Like people can be like surrounded with awesomeness and still feel sad or like not happy because they're not doing what makes them happy.
Exactly.
Or they're not telling people and they're not talking about things, and it's like you actually really have to try to be happy, and it's something that like shouldn't be taken for granted. Like people that are happy like all the time, it's like, well, that's awesome. Like glad you never have any problems, but I feel like most of the people in the world.
Yeah. And I feel like recognizing that really helps with like your motives in life and work. Like I feel like sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in like, once I'm there, then I'll be happy. Like no, if I really was at that point, I would really be happy. And it's like,
those things don't make you happy. Really it like comes from the inside.
Yeah, totally. And I think when you recognize that, it helps you deal with the painful fact.
Yeah.
But it's good. But with the painful fact of like, if I can't be happy now, I'm not going to be happy then. So that's kind of, like I said, painful to tackle, because you're like, oh crap, I really have to learn how to be happy now. Yeah. But it's a good thing to tackle, because that's just the truth.
Like learning how to be happy is probably like such a good skill to learn in life.
Yes, it is.
Like it's such a weird thing to say. Like learning to be happy is such a good skill in life, but it's true. Like happy no matter, in like content no matter what situation you're in.
Yeah. So it's interesting because they've done studies on like money relating to happiness, and they found that anything past the bare minimum, like money does have an effect on your happiness. They found that that's for sure. It affects your happiness, but it only affects your happiness up to the bare minimum. So they were saying in the US, I think they were saying that anything past, I want to say like 45,000, that's the number they threw out, has no bearing on your actual happiness. Then less than that, you start to affect your basic needs, like your housing and your food.
Like once your basic needs are met,
none of it affects.
Right, but if those aren't being met, then it's probably really messing with like your happiness and probably fears and struggles that you have. But once you kind of like have basics, like what you need, pay for your car, your house, like, and it's like all the excess stuff doesn't really like affect your happiness.
And they've done like legitimate studies. Like,
it's pretty
cool. Just making that up, but they've said they found that across the board, that once your basic needs are met, it doesn't affect your happiness. Isn't that interesting?
It's so interesting.
It's like a little discouraging, because you always look to like, once I'm there, then I'll be happy. But it's like good to know. You're like, all right, well then that just is what it is. Like Dr. Laura always said, she's like this talk show host. I love her. She always said that like, once you accept reality, that's one of the fastest tracks to happiness, because you accept it, it's a little sobering, but then you're like, okay, so now I deal with it. And then you actually tackle the issue.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So cool, Dr.
Listen to Dr. Laura.
She's good.
I would love to hear in the comments below what you guys do to stay happy, and if you find yourself like struggling to stay happy. And not that like, I mean, I think everybody struggles at some point, but I mean like, do you have these ups and downs? Like what do you guys feel like? Comment down below. We're a family. Let's talk about this. So I think that's all I wanted to say about happiness. Be happy, yay! And we're doing a video on Nikki's channel now where we're going to talk about, I believe, change, which I talked about a few weeks ago on my channel. I like talking about change. So yay, be sure to check that video out, check out Nikki, and like this video if you like us. So I'm gonna take it personally.
It's gonna be very personal.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. It'll make me very happy if you like this video. Okay, well that's it, I'll see you guys later. Bye! Bye! Hey everyone, so I'm back from Europe and I am ready to do an Ask Kat episode because it's been a little while since I've done one. So let's just jump right into the questions, starting with questions from Twitter. If you had to be one Disney character for a day, which one would you be and why?